Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States. Welcome back to another edition of Undercover Lies, where we diligently uncover Donald J. Trump's attempts to take over America and name the names of these traitorous helpers. Today, we are diving deep into the sick and shriveled mind of Congressman Madison Cawthorn. He's a Republican congressman from North Carolina and a true Trump believer. But first, we delve into this edition's Week of Woe, which this week features Jared Kushner, Donald Trump, and Hunter Biden. Yes, folks, the Republicans are running here and there again, yelling about Hunter Biden's computer. But we have the real scoop, so let's get down to it. First off, we have Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law of Donald J. Trump. He is married to Ivanka Trump's daughter, and he was one of Donald's top advisors on COVID and the Middle East. The Middle East, where every president for decades has been trying to work out a peace agreement between everyone in the Middle East and Israel. But even with the great Kushner, the effort failed. But apparently, Jared caught the eye of King Salman, ruler of Saudi Arabia, because they became, according to some accounts, good friends. As to how you become a good friend with a murderer and psychopath is beyond me, but for Kushner, it seems to work. I say it seems to have worked out for Kushner because the Saudi prince gave Kushner $2 billion. That's $2 billion for his new investment capital venture. This prince is going to give this guy $2 billion. I think it was more of a bribe than anything else. His advisors advised the king not to give the money to Kushner, but he overruled him and gave him the money anyway. Must be nice. $2 billion just to be your pal. Donald J. Trump must be fuming knowing that he can't touch a penny of this money. Kushner further alienated his father-in-law by appearing before the January 6th committee and not doing as the rest of the conspirators by taking the Fifth Amendment, but testified hopefully truthfully. Speaking of Jared's daddy Trump, he endorsed a very controversial figure in the name of Dr. Mehmet Oz, a TV personality and quack doctor, for the Senate seat in Pennsylvania. Trump apparently does as his wife Melania tells him to do, since she is the one that actually liked and campaigned for Oz instead of one of Trump's loyal MAGA followers. Now we know who wears the pants in that family, don't we? Now get this, it really pissed off the MAGA crowd, who called Dr. Oz a rhino, which is a Republican in name only, for the support of issues that MAGA has long fought against. So hopefully this will end with the MAGA crowd splintering, and maybe some will finally come to their senses and see this chiseler, this dictator wannabe, as he really is, a small, narcissistic, compulsive liar. Finally, in this edition's Week of Woe, Hunter Biden is again on the lips of all the GOP liars and Trump psychopaths, who again are saying that the Department of Justice should investigate Hunter Biden and his computer. A computer that he happened to drop off at a repair shop, and the owner of that repair shop took it to the FBI after it was left in his shop past the pickup date. Guess what, folks? This week, the owner of that repair shop came out and suggested that all of the unsubstantiated statements from the Republicans about the security issues and business information in the computer were all lies. He said that the only reason he turned it over to the FBI was over national security concerns, because Hunter Biden is the president's son. This is only prudent. This was the only reason that he turned it over to the FBI, over national security concerns, period. The Republicans will probably continue to throw charges against Hunter Biden, but now we know the real truth, not a washed-out version of the Republicans as they continue to weave their web of lies. They will probably continue down this road because they don't have any relevant, concrete ideas of how to fix the issues of the day. Important issues such as immigration, recession, gas prices, and such don't matter to these Republican sycophants of Donald J. Trump, since they continue to spout lies about irrelevant issues such as Hunter Biden's computer. He at least was never at the White House with his father, scheming on how to overthrow the U.S. government and getting rich off poor, innocent Americans in the process. Well, guys, that's it for this edition's Week of Woe. I hope you join us in sending Donald J. Trump our condolences on his pending trials and tribulations. We hope he loses it all and ends up in prison where traitors like him belong. Anyway, I suppose you guys think that I hate Trump, but of course you'd be correct. But let's get into Traitors Row and into the small and cramped mind of the traitor Madison Cawthorn. So, Madison Cawthorn was born August 1st, 1995 in Nashville, North Carolina in the United States of America. He is one of the youngest members of Congress, the youngest since Jed Johnson Jr., JJJ, as well as first born in the 1990s. He is a self-described constitutional conservative, although he tries to overturn the Constitution. But I digress. He also sets himself out as a Christian. He seems to focus more on offensive, provocative rhetoric and behavior rather than passing any legislation or making any positive changes at all. This being another example of the kind of people, lowlifes, that Donald Trump loves to surround himself with. Madison started off as a staff assistant in Representative Mark Meadows' district office. Mr. Cawthorn has a history of liking to bend the truth a little, and him talking about his time working as Mark Meadows' assistant is no exception, as he states he worked full-time, which is untrue, as there's proof that he only worked part-time, a small but relevant lie. Cawthorn always speaks and acts like he is standing up to the man, like he's fighting the machine that's wronged him, and like it's out to get him and take him and the Republican Party down to their knees. Maybe he thinks that by beating up on innocent trees, he can look tough. It doesn't work.
I don't know what problem new Congressman Madison Cawthorn has with trees, but at least he's trying to work it out in a weird way. Take a look at this video that he had apparently posted and since has taken down from a couple of years ago.
I'm about to set up a show when you get. I'm out of my mind, but I feel like I'm in it. If I never make it, don't make any difference. You know that the devil ain't never no telling when I'm in the building, and that's a monster. I am a pimp. I'm into the city, and you go to work, and you better get back. I don't write any fella. I write what I feel, and I feel it. I'm ready, so you better fight.
But unfortunately, Madison is already rolling around in the mud with the rest of the Republicans, as like the whole GOP party, he's a known liar, alleged sexual harasser, and last but definitely not least or forgivable, he's a known traitor, known for participating in the January 6th insurrection. He is seen feeding his manifesto and rhetoric to anyone who would listen from a raised stage that unfortunate day that the Capitol was attacked. Though he sees himself as a patriot, he is seen encouraging civil war and basic treason against democracy, America, and freedom itself. This turd wants to attack the voting system, our faith in the elections, and he loves to sow doubt. But they also want people to believe in the voting system when it comes to anyone from their party, of course. Although there is more than enough evidence that Trump was working with the Russians and committing fraud and illegal acts since day one, and I'm not just talking about day one of his term, but I'm talking about day one since his birth, but I digress. So let's talk about some of Madison's lies. This one here, and I would say this is up there in the top of his list of egregious acts, is even seen lying about the events of his own injury. Apparently, in Madison's recounting, his best friend, who he considered a brother, ran from the fire and wreckage and ran into the woods away from the fire, leaving Cawthorn with the flames licking his feet with only his strength, luck, and will to save his own life. Ooh. That sent chills down my spine. A very dramatic and scary situation, to be sure. But it's not true, of course. Cawthorn's retelling has been challenged by guess who? The friend Cawthorn alleges ran away and left him for dead tells the story a bit differently. The key difference being in that he didn't leave Cawthorn for dead, even pulling Cawthorn from the burning wreckage, risking his own life. I'm more inclined to believe this story of his friend, as the proof is in Cawthorn being alive, as well as there being no motive or gain for his friend. And Cawthorn, he doesn't have a good record of telling the truth. Cawthorn receives more sympathy and eventually more votes, so it appears more likely that Madison would gain points for lying about these events. Another notch on Madison's belt and his track record of not telling the truth is to try and persuade and deceive the public for political gain. In his claims that before his unfortunate accident, he was accepted and about to be in the Naval Academy as a pilot, although there's evidence that the Academy had denied his application before the accident happened. He seems to have no shame whatsoever in how he'll lie without conscience, and nothing is off limits when it comes to political gain. He's almost on par with Donald Trump. He's a perfect toady for him. Madison also joins the ranks of Republicans who lie and also have sexual misconduct and sexual harassment claims charged against them. In August of 2020, while Cawthorn was running for Congress, several women came forward with allegations of sexual misconduct and sexual assault and sexual aggressive behavior on Cawthorn. One survivor of Madison Cawthorn sexual harassment, being Katrina Krulikas. I hope I said her name right. Katrina recalls an incident when she was younger at the age of 17, Madison being 19. Madison pressured her to sit on his lap and attempted to kiss her forcibly twice, which she resisted. Another woman claims Cawthorn called her just a blonde, slutty American girl after she rejected his advances, which seems contradictory. Well, there are plenty more allegations. We'll need to move on. One aspect that shows Madison Cawthorn's backwards view on how to get points across in politics is how he believes you should ask what you want by lightly threatening your representatives, not by asking and demanding change in a civilized, composed, and peaceful manner, but call and lightly threaten your representatives on the phone. Where does lightly threatening become illegal or too far? For all his acting like he's Mr. Clean, Cawthorn speaks of Republican parties of cocaine and prostitutes. I'm sure he'd know about what goes on behind the scenes. These facts and allegations mark all the boxes for Trump to endorse him: corruption, lies, and sexual misconduct. Hopefully, with Trump's record of people he endorses losing, one can only hope the same will happen to Cawthorn. Well, guys, that's all the time we have for today. As always, thank you for joining us, and come back next week for another edition of Undercover Lies. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and hit the like button. Leave a comment if you wish. Until next week, remember, America needs your vote.